and welcome to what in my eyes is a throwback episode. And what is it going to be? Well, it's another top 10. But why is it a throwback episode, you ask? Well, it's because I haven't done one of these since March 25th of this year. And what is this top 10 going to be about? If you didn't see it in the intro, well, it's going to be my top 10 greatest games that I have ever played. So, the rules for this top 10 are as follows. And they're only going to be games that I have played, and they're not going to be based on reviews whatsoever. And secondly, I'm allowing more than one game per series since I love sequels. And finally, it's just my opinion, and I'm sure many of you will disagree. So, enough about rules, and let's get on with the actual video. So, number 10. Number 10 was initially going to be a game that apparently everyone loves, and it was going to be The Last of Us. But after much thought and after much consideration, I thought there was a game that is much more deserving than The Last of Us to be on this list. A truly underrated gem that I call Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. This awesome puzzle game was created by Shu Takumi, the legend behind the Ace Attorney series. And the game was awesome and features fiendishly difficult puzzles throughout. And it's really unique, and I've never seen any other game use this type of gameplay before. Although there was one game that's coming out soon on Xbox, I think, and it's a complete rip-off. I don't remember what it's called, but if you search for it on IGN, it's really such a rip-off of this game. Anyway, let's get back to the top 10. So, the music is easily one of the greatest OSTs that I've ever heard in any game, and if you see my previous top 10s, I apologise because I really need to change that. All of them, even the top 10 worst boss battles, that's just horrible. It's like JaivfromONM lost videos, horrible ones. So, and the music really fits with each level, and it's really just awesome to listen to. And this game is seriously underrated and really deserves a place on this list other than The Last of Us. So, number 9. Number 9 is actually going to be Toy Story 2 for the PS1. And I'm not too sure about this fact, but I believe Toy Story 2 was the first game that I've ever played, and I love it revisiting it today. The platforming is really good, and the level design is truly up there with Mario 64. I apologise, Nintendo fans, but I'm also a Nintendo fan. The areas are vast with many upgrades scattered throughout, and the level variation is great. For example, in the first level you're in Andy's house, and since you're a toy, the area is huge. And later on in the game, you're in a construction site, then in Al's hotel, like the lift part of it, which is really cool because they focused the whole level around lifts. Which other game can do that and pull it off perfectly? Then you're in the airport towards the end, and it's really cool. The boss battles are also great fun, and Zurg, he's in it, so what more could you ask for if you're a Toy Story fan? And the music in the game is also really cool, featuring jazzy soundtracks that go with all the levels. This game has really withstood the test of time, and I believe it's one of the greatest games I have ever played, and that's why it's number 9 on my list. Number 8, Spider-Man for the PS1. Again, the PS1. So, like Toy Story, Spider-Man was one of the first games that I've ever played. And again, like Toy Story, I love going back to revisit it every now and then. And the gameplay is really awesome with each level, again like Toy Story, being very unique and different. For example, in the first level, it's an open skyscraper type level, and the second level, you have to break into a bank. Not because you're a criminal, you have to break into the bank to and that's a major loophole I just discovered. And the plot was very cheesy at times, but it stayed true to the comics, and there were many cameo appearances from many Marvel superheroes, such as Captain America, The Punisher, Human Torch. Yeah, I think that was it. Anyway, Spider-Man 2 had better cameo appearances, but that was not as good as this one. My only problem with the game, though, is that it can be completed in around 40 minutes, and despite this very short length, it's a great game to go back and revisit every now and then, since the length can help you speedrun it very quickly. And that's why Spider-Man is number 8 on my list. So, number 7. The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. And I honestly don't understand all the hate about this game. The art style is dark and gritty, and it really suits the storyline, which in my opinion is up there with some of the greatest novels of all time. The gameplay was classic Zelda, and the music was incredibly memorable. It's the only Zelda game which I can remember every song for, and that's a big statement to make since the Zelda series is full of music. Just look at Ocarina of Time. And the reason I have this Zelda game up here instead of all the others, though, is because it can be played through multiple times without becoming boring. I'm currently on my 47th playthrough of the game, and each playthrough takes me around 20 to 30 hours to complete 100%, and that's around a lot of time I've spent with that game, and every second of it I love, and that's why Twilight Princess is number 7 on my list. Now, Phoenix Wright, one of my favourite characters in gaming, but which one of his games made it onto the list? It was a very hard decision for me to make, but for me to choose between Trials and Tribulations and Apollo Justice, it had to be number 6 is going to be Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Trials and Tribulations. My reasons: despite being a port of a GBA game and making no true use of the DS system, the game had a brilliant plot and really tied Phoenix's past to an emotional final case. And what's the best thing about the game though? It featured Godot, or Godot as some people like to pronounce it for some reason. Anyway, Godot, greatest prosecutor ever. And I'm sorry Edgeworth, but Godot beats into this game. And anyway, for those reasons, Trials and Tribulations is number 6 on my list. So, 5, we're halfway there. And it's going to be Resident Evil 4 Wii Edition. So, why the Wii Edition, you may be asking? Well, despite having poorer visuals than the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions of the game's controls worked well, and they were very fluid, and it's perhaps the best way to play it if you don't have a PC. But anyway, Resident Evil 4 is not on the PC, so no PC Master Race. The game had a really cool plot and it was very cheesy throughout, which is what the series is known for, and it featured hilariously cheesy dialogue, especially at the very ending of the game. If you're a Resident Evil fan, you know what I'm talking about. And the over-the-shoulder approach really got you into the action, and it's without a doubt the best Resident Evil and possibly the best horror game ever, and for that reason it's number 5 on my list. So, number 4. Now, I know that Dishonored is a new game on the market, but it made a major impression on me. Before Dishonored, I had never played a stealth game like this. I mean, despite it being based on Thief, I had never played Thief, and I hope to buy the new one that's coming out next year. And the idea of using your environment to your advantage and the ability to finish a level without killing a single person was really neat. I still play this game every now and then, it's my favourite game on the PS3, and every time I play each level, I always play it a different way. For example, in the third mission, the Golden Cat, I sometimes go and help Slackjaw out, I sometimes don't, I sometimes kill his friends first, so he has less people to attack me when I attack him. It's really cool, and the amount of different ways you can play each level are really mind-blasting. And one of the main things about this game is DLC. I never buy DLC. I bought every piece of DLC for this game, and that shows you how much I love this game. It's just really awesome, and that's why it's number 4 on my list. So, we're into the top 3. What is going to be number 3? It's Super Mario Galaxy Collection. Now, I regard the Mario Galaxy games as a package, with both being one big game that's split into 2. These games are just platforming bliss, and everything about them is perfect, and the only thing that I can criticise is the final level of Super Mario Galaxy 2. The perfect run is incredibly difficult, and I'm amazing at platforming games, yet still found this level really just, it's painful. Other than that, these games can't really be topped by sequels from Nintendo, although I do think the Super Mario 3D World will be awesome, and I'm still unsure if it's going to be as good as Super Mario Galaxy, since they're just everything about the Galaxy games are just awesome, just amazing, and I can't stop saying how perfect these games were, and that's why they are placed on number 3 on this list. And here we go, number 2, The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Perhaps one of the most controversial decisions on this list. My favourite Zelda game is Skyward Sword, and the game is just Zelda brilliance. The motion controls work so well, and anyone who says differently is an idiot because they haven't played it properly. The puzzles in this game are really cool, and the dungeon design is simple yet fiendishly difficult. The story stands out for me as it's not really the damsel in distress story, but it's more like a story about Link finding out what his path is, and since it's an origin story for Hyrule and the Triforce and Ganondorf, it's really cool. My only negative point about this game is the music is not really as great as previous Zeldas, but the credits theme is one of the greatest songs I've ever heard in video game history. Skyward Sword also have a very unique painting art style. That's really cool. And even though it's brand new and unique, many people criticize it, I really thought it was really cool when it made the Wii's graphical capabilities, it pushed them to the limit basically. Furthermore, this game introduced the most awesome villain of all time, and that is the Demon Lord Girahim. I really hope he's in the next Smash Brothers because he's just fabulous, if you know what I mean. So, sorry about that before, my camera only records in 10-minute intervals, as I just found out. So, as I was saying, Skyward Sword features the Demon Lord Girahim, who is probably my favourite antagonist in the history of games, and I really hope he's in the next Smash Brothers. And anyway, those are my reasons why I love Skyward Sword. And so, what could possibly be better than this masterpiece that is Zelda? And here we go. Number 1. This is going to be the most controversial spot on this list. What is going to be my favourite game of all time? Well, it's Hironobu Sakaguchi's JRPG masterpiece, The Last Story. This brilliant hack and slash RPG is my favourite game of all time, and I really have no complaints about it. Everything is just perfect. The story is really good and not predictable whatsoever. The major twist at the end of the game is really emotional, and it really prepared you for the final battle, which is one of the greatest in games. Really difficult as well. I mean, I spent like 2 days trying to defeat him. I may have even shed a few tears at the ending since it's that sad. Anyway, the game is a 40-hour long campaign, and that doesn't include any of the side quests. I know it's not as long as Xenoblade Chronicles or Pandora's Tower. Well, I haven't finished Pandora's Tower, so I don't actually know that. But it's still got a great length of game for a JRPG, despite most JRPGs being longer. The gameplay can be changed to suit anyone's style. For example, it switches between manual attacks and automatic attacks. Automatic attacks are more like Xenoblade Chronicles, where Zael will, like, shulk, I think his name is? Yeah, well, Zael will be like shulk and just attack when he's near an enemy. If you choose to manual though, it becomes more of a hack and slash, which is what I prefer, which you can like attack like whatever you want. Sometimes he'll go onto an enemy if it's an automatic, slash, and then stop, and then you can't really get as many hits in as normal. That's why I prefer manual, and that's another great thing about this game. And the music was composed by Nobuo Uematsu. Yeah, Nobuo Uematsu, that was it, sorry. And the music is really catchy and very emotional, and the songs all fit the game, and it's one of the greatest OSTs that I've heard. And that's really it. It's just a perfect game. And to show you how much of a perfect game is, I don't even like RPGs in general. Like, I just can't stand them, and this is my favourite game ever. So you can really tell how much I like this game and how much of an impression it left on me. So, that's it. That is the top 10 greatest games of all time, in my opinion. And I hope you enjoyed this very controversial episode of mine, and just stay tuned and feel free to post your own opinions, your own favourite games in the comments. If you have anything you'd like to say about my choices, then please feel free to message me or prefer comments because it's more interactive that way. Everyone can join in the discussion. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the episode. Goodbye.